Late at night in a quiet Virginia town, two officers pulled over a black woman, accusing her of a crime she didn't commit. What should have been a routine stop quickly spiraled into something much darker, a carefully planned setup. But what these officers didn't know was that their target wasn't just any woman. She was someone with the power to unravel everything they thought they controlled. This story takes a shocking turn in ways no one saw coming, exposing a web of lies and corruption, and ending with a twist so explosive it would shake the entire police department to its core. The night was quiet in Arlington, Virginia. The hum of street lights flickered above deserted sidewalks, and the occasional car sped down the empty roads. Naomi Carter sat behind the wheel of her sleek black SUV, her hands relaxed on the steering wheel as she drove through the suburban neighborhood. She glanced at her watch, just past midnight. The day had been long, but she felt a small sense of accomplishment. Her undercover work in this small town was nearing its end, and she had everything she needed for a clean exit. As she approached a quiet intersection, she slowed, her sharp eyes catching the faint glint of a reflective stop sign. Naomi had an instinct for details, something she'd honed over years of working as a field operative. She came to a full stop, her hands steady on the wheel, then turned left onto the next street. Moments later, blue and red lights flashed behind her. The piercing wail of a siren shattered the stillness of the night. Naomi didn't panic. She was trained for this. She guided her vehicle to the curb, shut off the engine, and retrieved her license and registration from the glove compartment. The squad car stopped just behind her. Two officers stepped out, walking toward her vehicle with authority. Officer Ryan Caldwell was tall and broad-shouldered, his expression unreadable. Officer Jason Moore, shorter and bulkier, followed close behind. "Good evening, ma'am," Caldwell said, flashing his light in her face. "You know why I pulled you over tonight?" Naomi kept her voice calm. "No, officer. I wasn't speeding. I made a full stop." Caldwell smirked. "Actually, you failed to stop at the sign back there. That's a moving violation." "I'm sure I stopped," Naomi said. "Perhaps you." "License and registration," he snapped. She handed them over. As Caldwell read through her papers, his partner circled around to the back of the vehicle. A few seconds passed. Then Moore called out, "Hey, Caldwell. You're gonna want to see this." Naomi watched in the side mirror as the two officers huddled at her trunk. She couldn't hear what they said, but she didn't have to. Caldwell returned to her window. "Step out of the vehicle, ma'am." "Why?" "We believe you're in possession of illegal substances." Her eyes narrowed. "Excuse me?" "Out. Now." Moore opened the trunk dramatically and reached in. Well, what do we have here?" he said, holding up an unmarked bag. "Powdery goodness." Naomi's heart didn't pound. Her mind moved like clockwork. She knew that bag hadn't been there when she left home. It was a setup. Still, she got out without protest. "I'll save my comments for the appropriate setting," she said. "You're under arrest for possession with intent to distribute," Caldwell declared. They cuffed her and led her to the squad car. The ride to the station was silent. Naomi sat in the back seat, her hands cuffed, her mind racing. The evidence was fake. The stop was fabricated. This wasn't incompetence, it was premeditated. They thought she was nobody. And they were about to find out how wrong they were. At the station, Caldwell boasted to the front desk, "Got ourselves a big one tonight." Moore tossed the bag on the counter like it was a trophy. Caught her red-handed. They booked her and led her to the holding cell. "You don't look like someone who gets into this kind of trouble," Caldwell said, smirking. Naomi didn't flinch. "Maybe the judge will see through your story instead." He didn't like that. He walked away, but his arrogance was already starting to crack. Naomi sat in the cold cell, back straight, expression calm. She waited. And then, carefully, she moved her fingers inside the lining of her jacket. There, hidden inside, was a small button, a beacon. She pressed it. A silent signal was sent to her team. The CIA knew how to find its own. Meanwhile, Officer Keller, the young rookie who had processed her, felt something was off. Her calm demeanor. The conveniently placed evidence. The arrogance of the senior officers. He checked the case file. Everything seemed too clean. Naomi watched from the cell as Keller passed by. "You said they're counting on people like me," he muttered. "I did," she said calmly. "Because they are." Keller walked away, but her words stayed with him. He started digging. Caldwell and Moore had a pattern, a dozen cases just like Naomi's. All ended in guilty pleas. All involved minorities. All involved planted drugs or exaggerated charges. Keller knew what he had to do. He sent a message through an encrypted channel, attaching all the case files. A plea for help. Elsewhere in the city, a secure phone buzzed. The CIA had received Naomi's signal. And now, the FBI had Keller's email. It was time. Within hours, black sedans rolled into the parking lot of the Arlington Police Department. Men and women in suits stepped out, badges flashing. "Federal investigation," Agent Price announced. "We need access to your records and holding cells. Now." The entire station froze. Caldwell and Moore went pale. FBI tech agents accessed the station's surveillance footage. They had everything. Caldwell and Moore holding the unmarked bag before they searched Naomi's trunk. Audio files from Naomi's hidden mic, catching them bragging about the setup. Agent Price confronted them. "We've reviewed your past arrests," he said coldly. "This isn't your first time doing this. But it will be your last." The officers were stunned. Cornered. And finally, handcuffed. Naomi was released, her record cleared. As she passed Keller at his desk, she paused. "Thank you," she said simply. He gave a tight nod, the weight of it all just beginning to settle. Caldwell and Moore were indicted on multiple charges, including evidence tampering, false arrest, and conspiracy. The media exploded with the news. The town demanded justice. Naomi's identity as a CIA operative remained sealed, but her actions had sent a ripple through the system. The cases tied to the corrupt officers were reopened. Innocent people were exonerated. And the department underwent a sweeping overhaul. Weeks later, Naomi sat on a bench at a quiet park. Agent Price joined her. "You could have handled this differently," he said. She smirked. "And missed the look on their faces?" He chuckled. "You've got a way of making things unforgettable." She stood, her bag slung over her shoulder. "I'm ready for the next one." He nodded. As she walked away, the wind picked up. The air was sharp, fresh, like change. Because sometimes, the best way to expose corruption is to let it believe it's winning until it's far too late. No matter how deep the lies, the truth will always rise. And justice, real justice, never forgets.